everyone, I am T-Rex, and today I'm doing my review for Godzilla Vs Kong. So far I have reviewed all the monsterverse films leading up to this, and I will leave a playlist up there if you want to check out any of my previous reviews, and tomorrow I will actually be ranking all the monsterverse movies. But this is my review for Godzilla vs Kong, and let's get straight into it. Godzilla vs Kong is the fourth film in the monsterverse and serves as a sequel to both Godzilla King of the Monsters and Kong Skull Island. This film is directed by newcomer to the series Adam Wingard. It stars Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, and Brian Tyree Henry. Now, right off the bat, this film is incredible. Right now, it's my #1 movie of the year, and now I haven't seen any other new releases this year, but I think this film has a shot at being my favorite movie this year. It's got a long road ahead of it, as the Suicide Squad is shaping up to be something really interesting. Hopefully Quiet Place 2 is good. Dune is by the same guy who made Blade Runner 2049, so I'm all in on that. You also have the finale to Daniel Craig's Bond series, along with Mission Impossible 7, and of course, Spider-Man Far From Home, hopefully with Tobey Maguire. So this year is looking to be incredible for movies, so we'll see if Godzilla vs Kong has what it takes to stay at my #1 spot. But so far, it's definitely got a shot. So this is a non-spoiler review, but let's just touch up on the plot a bit. So this is about a scientific team that needs to find something, leading them to ask Kong for help, only for Godzilla to emerge and stay as the top alpha while also angry at something new. And in case you can't tell, I am trying to be very vague, as I went in knowing not a lot about this film, so I hope you guys don't get anything spoiled or anything ruined. But I will say this narrative was really fun. I thought the plot here was going to be very dumb, but the motives of characters actually make sense, and I love the direction that they took Kong in. The story is heavily based around Kong. Kong is definitely the protagonist of this film, and they kind of make Godzilla more of the antagonist. Now, the main story is about a team of scientists following Kong, basically, and the main narrative, though, is very creative and takes us to these really new places, and it isn't afraid to get weird. They go all out, and this is the most sci-fi out there story that I think Kong has ever been in. I absolutely love the main narrative and the risks that they were willing to take. The main story was just awesome. Now, you also have this side narrative with Millie Bobby Brown, Brian Tyree Henry, and Julian Dennison, who is the kid from Deadpool 2, and this story is just not as engaging. Out of these characters, really only Bernie, who is played by Brian Tyree Henry, gets any development, and the other two characters just aren't as interesting. Now, I didn't really like Millie Bobby Brown in Godzilla King of the Monsters, and she's not that much better here. The side plot itself, I actually found kind of interesting, and it leads to some awesome scenes with characters discovering these new things, but the narrative really slows down a bit in these parts because the characters that we are with just aren't as interesting. But this narrative wasn't ever about these super complex characters. It's about giving us basic characters that we can quickly get attached to and then go on a super fun adventure that leads to these awesome monster fights. I thought the narrative was just so much fun. I loved how out there they went, and it was just a blast with a few twists that were thrown in the mix towards the end that really spiced some things up. I am so glad Adam Wingard and the team just had a blast with this story and really went for it. Also, this movie moves at a clip, so it feels like no time is wasted as we go from one awesome scene to another. This film is the definition of all killer no filler, at only a runtime of 1 hour and 53 minutes. We do not waste any time here. We are blasting at full throttle, and I love that we have this movie moving so quickly. But we also get pretty great action scenes that are long, and great development for Kong, Godzilla, and the other characters, and we're actually attached to them even at the slower and smaller runtime. Now, speaking of Kong and Godzilla, let's get into those amazing scenes without getting into spoiler territory, as that's what I showed up for, with those humongous monster fights, and I came in with really high expectations for these fights, and the film knocks it out of the park and exceeded my expectations. These might be the best monster fights I think I've ever seen. The choreography is just amazing, and I love how Godzilla is just naturally stronger, but Kong is able to be quicker and be a bit more creative and uses more weapons and thinks a little bit more than Godzilla. The first scene on the boat is just so good, having a lot of Jaws references and things like that. And then I love Hong Kong. And you have probably seen both of these scenes in the trailer, but the Hong Kong scene really reminded me of the scene in Pacific Rim, where the monsters versus Gypsy Danger in the Neon City. But this Hong Kong fight in Godzilla vs Kong is the best monster fight I think I've ever seen. The choreography is just simply incredible. It is so epic and new things get introduced, and this is one of just the best third acts I've ever seen. And this fight just does not stop. It is so rad. There's so many awesome moments, and it is the reason you came to the movie. There's also so many things that are introduced. I just cannot overhype this. The fights in this film are just that good and are just simply incredible. Now, let's talk about characters, and we're going to talk about the main character, and I felt that it was Kong. He is so awesome. He is just a great character. In my last review of King Kong 2005, I said that interpretation of King Kong was probably the most human, and I completely take it back because I think this iteration is now the most human of all the Kongs. He really feels like a character, and he has a super sweet connection with this little girl Gia, who is deaf, and he just feels like a real character as we get to see his emotions through that incredible CGI that is simply breathtaking, and you can just really feel his emotions. Kong is absolutely awesome in this movie, and he has this awesome personality of just this underdog who just will not give up, and he is probably the heart of the film, and in my opinion, one of the best parts of the film. I love Kong, if you can't tell. I was Team Kong the entire movie, and in my opinion, they completely did him justice. Now for the human characters. The main guy is Alexander Skarsgård, and he has this charm, and really isn't your average leading man. I actually cared about him, and he actually had a lot more charm and personality than some of the other leading men that we have. He actually felt much more human. Also, you have Rebecca Hall's character and her adopted deaf daughter, Gia, who's the last of the tribe from Kong Skull Island, and she's the only one who can communicate with Kong. And I think that they both had a great amount of development. I honestly really cared about these two, and they were absolutely awesome. They, along with Kong, are the real heart of this film. Now, you also have the characters in the side plot with Millie Bobby Brown, Brian Tyree Henry, and Julian Dennison. And the two kids here have close to no development, and they are kind of just here, and Bernie is like a podcast guy. Bernie, though, being played by Brian Tyree Henry, just is great since he's able to bring some just great comedic timing. These characters are the ones that stand out for being sort of the weak links in the cast. Now, there are some villains here that are just evil for being evil's sake, and honestly, they kind of work in this film, and they lead to something that was really awesome, but arguably, let's talk about the main antagonist, and that villain is Godzilla, and let's talk about him. Here, Godzilla feels like a combination of Godzilla 2014 and the Godzilla from Godzilla King of the Monsters, as he is a force of destruction in this film, and also at the same time has that trait from Godzilla King of the Monster where he really wants to be the alpha dog here in the fight. He wants to be the King of the Monsters. He is awesome and great, and as this force of nature, he was awesome, and as also a monster, he was a great opponent for Kong. Now, I was Team Kong, but I actually did care for Godzilla as well, and I think that really shows how this film did a great job of developing both of these characters. Even if you really were on one character's side, you could see where the other one was coming from. I think that this film did a great job of developing both of these characters, and they both had awesome moments. Godzilla, just like Kong in this movie, was absolutely awesome. Now, let's talk about the direction. This is the most easily fun film so far in the MonsterVerse. It knows exactly what it is and wears it on its sleeve. It has so much fun with its presence. Adam Wingard brings this feeling of fun as this overall tone, and it doesn't overall feel that serious, and it just has this feeling of fun. I don't know any other way on how to put it. Adam Wingard as well also has a fantastic eye for visuals, and his fights here are bar none the best fight scenes in any monster movie or any monster movie so far in this series. This movie knows exactly what it is, and it has so much fun and looks incredible at the same time while doing it. Warner Brothers, if you are listening to me, keep this guy around. I hope that they keep him around, as this is the guy who I want to see keep doing all of the future MonsterVerse movies, as his direction and style I thought were excellent and just led to such a blast of a movie. I loved this film from beginning to end. This movie moves quickly and moves from great scene to great scene. This movie actually here has probably the best human characters, and we really do care about some of them. Kong and Godzilla are at their best here, and their fight scenes are jaw-dropping, and the best monster fights I have ever seen, while having this super fun tone at the same time, and just being a blast from start to finish. Now, the subplot here with those humans isn't that great, but it leads to another awesome thing, so I'm gonna give it a pass. I'm trying to be as objective as possible with this film, but I don't know, I just had so much fun with it. I think movies sometimes forget to be fun, and maybe I like this movie so much more because I was being in a theater for the first time in a while. Maybe that had something to do with it, but I honestly don't care. With how much I love this movie, I don't care. Godzilla vs Kong was everything I wanted it to be and more. So I'm going to say that Godzilla vs Kong is awesome. This movie completely blew my expectations out of the water, and I honestly thought I wasn't going to give it an awesome, which is my highest rating, but I loved it so much. If you want a movie with more awesome monster fight scenes, I recommend Pacific Rim. And if you want another great Kong film with great characters as well, I recommend King Kong 2005 by Peter Jackson, which I did a review for if you want to check that out. But what are your thoughts on Godzilla vs Kong? I would love to hear your opinions down below. Remember to share this video with a friend who either loves Godzilla or loves Kong, and also comment if you were Team Kong or Team Godzilla. Remember, I'm ranking all of the monster movies tomorrow, and when that comes out, I'll see you then. Bye.